Welcome back. In this section, we are going to start our exploration of laboratory structures related to the heart. And the first place we are going is to the layers of the heart. And when we look at the heart to see the layers, we need to do a cross-section through the heart. And on this view, no matter how you section the heart, the outermost layer, the heart surface, this is called the epicardium. Remember that prefix epi means on, and that root word cardi means heart. So this is the outermost layer, which is on the outside of the heart, the epicardium. And if you're thinking to yourself, is that the same thing as the visceral pericardium? Yes, it's the same layer, but when we're talking layers of the heart, the word we're usually talking for laboratory structures is epicardium. Deep to the epicardium, what we're going to have is the muscle of the heart, and that is called the myocardium. And if we continue the myocardium as far as it can go, what you'll notice is you will end up with a chamber of the heart, which is normally filled with blood. And if you realize it's a chamber of the heart, it's got to have a layer of epithelium on it because there's the surface of the heart. You would be correct, and that innermost layer surrounding the chambers is called the endocardium. And on some models, such as the model to your right, they have painted the endocardium a separate color so you clearly can distinguish it from the myocardium. So that's it for the three layers of the heart. And so let's go ahead and move on to the heart chambers and the valves between those two chambers. So the heart is kind of like a box, and you can divide it in half, so you have half above and half below. And the chambers up above, each one is called an atrium, and the chambers down below, each one is called a ventricle. And then we can divide the heart into the right and the left side. And so that gives us like 4 little rooms inside the heart. And it would be great if it's like this, but the heart actually is tilted and angled in your body, but you'll be able to make those associations pretty quickly. So the upper chamber on the right is called the right atrium. So if you look at this view of the heart on the upper left, you can see that if you went across here where I'm drawing the line, you would have your upper chambers on the left and your lower chambers on the right, whereas if you go where I am going now, you would have your right-sided chambers down going towards the lower left, and you would have your left-sided chambers going towards the upper right. In the model of the heart on the far right, you will have, this is as if you were looking at somebody's heart. So as usual, the right side of the heart is on your left side as you're looking at, and the left side's on the right. And on this model of the heart, the upper chambers have not been cut through. They are still closed, but we can still identify them from the outside. So the upper left chamber is, the upper chamber on the left as you're viewing it is actually on the right in the person, so that is called the right atrium. And just inferior to it, you would have the larger right ventricle. Continuing on, the upper chamber on the other side would be called the left atrium, and the much larger lower chamber on the left side is called the left ventricle. So we now have valves, which are kind of like doorways. For blood to exit one of these chambers, it has to go through a valve. So the valve that is known as the tricuspid valve is on the right side of the heart between the right atrium and the right ventricle. And the next valve on the right side would handle blood trying to leave the right ventricle. And it also is in the same plane. All 4 valves are kind of in the same plane between the atria and the ventricles. But this one, we're not sending blood back to the ventricle, we're sending blood to the lungs. So this actually is anterior, more on the anterior surface of the heart. And this valve carrying through which blood has to go to get to the lungs is called the pulmonary valve. On the left side of the heart, between the left atrium and the left ventricle, you have the mitral valve, which looks very much like the tricuspid valve with the little pointy little leaflets, only it only has two. So some people call it the bicuspid valve, but we're going with the word mitral valve because that's what it's used in all the clinical literature and all the clinical scenario. And by the way, nobody uses the term atrioventricular valve. Okay. And then to get blood out of the left ventricle, it is going to go into the main artery, which carries blood to the entire body. And that valve is called the aortic valve. So it is also a bit more anterior, although the pulmonary valve is going to be anterior to the aortic valve. So those are the four valves, but I do want to spend just a moment talking about this tricuspid valve on the right side and the mitral valve on the left side. If you notice, they do not have the same structure as the aortic and mitral valve, which are just these little cusps going like this. And so there are a couple added structures for the tricuspid and mitral valve. And the first structure are like these strings that you see hanging down from the valve. And the plural form is chordae tendineae, E-A-E. Chordae tendineae without the final E is the singular form. And so these are attached to both the tricuspid valve as indicated there, but also the mitral valve has chordae tendineae as well. And so one end of this is attached to the valve, but the other end is attached to muscle that's in the ventricle. And this is not muscle that's just sitting there on the outside wall. This is actually like a tongue of muscle which goes into the ventricular lumen, as I think you can appreciate better on the pictures of the real hearts on the left side. And this muscle, which you can see in both places and is on both chambers, are called papillary muscles. So you either have two papillary muscles or three papillary muscles. So like you'd have two on the left and three on the right side of the heart, just because of the number of leaflets in the valves. And with that, we are done with this section. Thank you for all your hard work, and I will see you again soon as we continue our pathway through the heart.